I thought maybe you would want to know what a really dirty Roland Space Echo sounds like. It doesn't sound crackly like that. You're hearing the cell phone signal being picked up by the speakers. So everything works. I'm hoping you're going to hear some pretty strong inconsistencies to the quality of the repeats. Those are great examples. It almost sounds like, oh, that's a good one. It almost sounds like somebody has I'm putting you closer to the speakers. So that hopefully you're going to be able to pick up the really, really faint, almost like sound on sound that's happening. The tape is so old that the tape itself is so old that as it passes over the record head, it's not. It's just like one of my favorite sounds in the entire world. Okay. So, a few different things are happening all at the same time when you've got a unserviced. Well, when this machine itself is unserviced, and I'm no Space Echo expert, but there are some things that kind of like repeat across. There are some things that kind of repeat across unserviced tape echoes. On modern digital tape echoes, a lot of times you have like on the DoD rubberneck that I so like. You've got a modulated delay. A lot of times, what that modulation is trying to accomplish is not necessarily like its own separate modulation, like a proper chorus or whatever, but it's trying to capture what is a it's trying to digitally recreate flaws in that were inherent to tape machines. So as the recording head takes your guitar signal and moves the metal on the tape itself to correspond to that signal that you are sending it, the as it passes over those repeat heads, the repeat heads may not be able to read that signal very well because the signal path is dirty, because it is dirty with literal rust and grime and oil and other things. Then you're gonna have like dirty, kind of like gross repeats. You heard some of that on the replay. You're also gonna have a like the flaws and the degradation in the sound, which a lot of people is like find really charming, and which at least like on this machine is really is fun for me, is coming from well, I mean, it's kind of like when you think about it, it's sort of obvious. It's coming from the tape itself, which is the recording medium, and then it's going to come from any points of contact that the recording medium has with the mechanical like infrastructure of the device, and then it's going to come from the sort of like output and input mechanisms that are touching the recording medium. And so on top of tape echo, you've got under here, you've got the tape loop itself, which is a circle, which is like a big broad circle, and you've got a record head here, and then you've got a series of play heads, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Jesus Christ! Look, this is the kind of cinematography you've come to expect from Owen Fitzgerald and Loud Art Gear Supply Studios. And so if you don't get a great copy of the guitar signal here, then that bad copy is going to be passed down here. And then as it goes over more points of contact, the actual copy of the signal that you've made right here onto the tape is going to smear a little bit. It's going to move a little bit. And then, well, what happens if this guy starts getting gunked up? Because this is what powers the entire operation. This pulls the tape across the entire sort of record and playback surface. So if the tape is really gunky, or if the tape is the wrong size, especially, right? Somebody's just like, oh, tape is tape. Let me just like make a quick tape loop because I want my shit to work better. But if you've made it out of tape, which is physically thicker than the tape which should be in this machine, then the little robot is going to be like, oh, this is like, oh, I'm having a hard time. It's going to slow, and you're going to have those kind of like pitch modulations. Or maybe it's like the rotor itself is not being, or the bearings are not lubricated properly. It's going to spin really well for a while, and then all of a sudden it's going to be like beep, 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 right? You are changing in incremental fashions the tape, the speed at which the tape is brought across the playback heads, and as it speeds up and slows down, you've got that sort of like pitch modulation that comes with that comes with that phenomenon. I've never played a like fully serviced, ready to go Space Echo because this is the only Space Echo that I've ever had. But boy, am I pleased to find out that this one doesn't actually have any problems. It just needs like what turns out to be many baths. I thought I gave it a good enough bath. I didn't give it a good enough bath. And also needs new tape. So how do you give it a bath? Well, you luckily, if everything's working like it is on this one, you don't have to get underneath the machine and get at any of the electronics. Ooh, forgot the amp was still on. And all of your servicing is going to happen on top, just having to do with points of contact and like the tape path itself. So I'll show those real quick. I think I'm gonna buy this service kit that that comes from Echo Fix. It's like $100, and but it seems pretty well priced. You get, I think, 2 new tapes and a pinch roller, which is the little rubber gasket thing that moves the tape on top of the motor, which I'm pretty sure is called a cap stand. You get a new one of those right there, and a couple odds and ends that are useful. Ooh, I also get to buy a spare of those little twisty knobs. And if I want to get super flossy, I can buy like a colored thing. On top of that, I'm not trying to push Echo Fix. I think their new machines that they make now sound incredible. But you know, if you've got another service and repair kit that you especially love and have experience with for your own 201, feel free to comment and let me know what it is. And that was a tedious explanation of warble and hiss and modulation and like why tape machines sound bad and why that might be charming. So what am I going to do to, like, it needs to be serviced, right? I want to have the option of it sounding like shit, sort of like shit, but I would love for it to not sound like shit just because it is like unserviced and isn't being cared for properly. Well, save the old tape. Save the old tape, put it away someplace like nice and easy, and use that shitty old tape when you want the characteristics that tape has built into it. So that is just what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna put it in this box. This is a new tape that came with the machine when I got it from 201loop.com. It is unchill for this machine. I don't know if the company did a not great job or if the tape just like sat too long. Probably, I think it went unused for, the guy said, like maybe 5 or 10 years, but it had like no playback volume, and that was disappointing. So the other thing that you'll get by switching to new tape, even though it won't sound shitty, or the new appropriate tape, hopefully your output volume increases, which mine could stand to for sure, and the likelihood of you being able to reach that glorious sound of what is the sound of God being confused, which is a tape machine going into self-oscillation, is a lot easier to achieve, apparently. So that's one reason why I'm excited to get this thing where it needs to go. The self-oscillation occurs when the signal that you've put into it, usually on like a digital pedal, if you're familiar with those, you can self-oscillate by just increasing the amount of repeats and the mix volume, like the volume of the repeats, but especially the amount of the repeats. And that is what that does on an actual tape machine. What it's trying to mimic is uh, the original signal that you sent into the record head being resent into the record head, and so you are now like repeating repeats, so to speak. And now we're at a point of the adventure where I can't get a basic latch to work, so I think we're all doing the best we can. So yeah,